is going on? SharkNation number 75, and we couldn't have planned it any better. We didn't plan it this way, but this is day 75 of Jason's 75 Hard.
Oh, thank you, Lord. The day has come. Yeah, we're definitely not smart enough to plan it this way for sure. But
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
I guess, to be transparent, we did shift the live from Wednesday to Friday, but we didn't plan that our 75th episode would be lining up with the same week that you'd be ending it.
yeah, yeah. Now it's good coincidence, man. The stars must have been aligned. It's been a journey for sure. I
Yeah,
remember I remember coming on with you like before I was going to make the public commitment to it. I'm like, I don't know if I want to even do
I
it.
know.
I'm so nervous. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what it was. I don't know if I just didn't want to commit to the workouts, commit to the not drinking, commit to all of it, because I knew it was going to be, everybody I even just told what you have to do. They're like, oh, that sounds hard. Could you do like a variant of it? And go, no, that's the whole point of it. You have to do all of it.
That's it. I remember you didn't want to. You're like, I'm doing it, but I don't want to commit to it
I don't want to see it
on.
publicly.
Why is that? What is it about it?
Well, like you said, we talk about it all the time. Anytime you make a public declaration of a goal, you're more likely to complete it. But and that goes with all the peer pressure of everybody going to be asking you, "Hey, how you doing with it? Are you still doing it? Are you doing that?" So you're more likely to keep your commitment with it, which is a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I constantly do it, and it's not constantly. Like I constantly am saying things out loud that I'm committing to because I've experienced an occasional commitment or two that I've posted publicly that, you really hold your feet to the fire. So I'm a little addicted to saying things publicly to people because yeah, it's the ultimate form of accountability because nobody wants to show up here and be like, I didn't do it, and I've committed to things and failed too,
Yep,
but I think it's an extra layer to make sure you do what you said you're going to do.
for sure. And I think if we
So
just take a step back and kind of just explain the program to people, just in case anybody's not familiar with it, and then we could deep dive on that for sure. But so 75 straight days, no, breaks in between. It's got to be 75 consecutive days. You have to do two 45-minute workouts. One of them has to be outside. You have to drink 1 gallon of water. You have to read 10 pages of nonfiction. You have to take a progress pic. You have to stick to a diet and no alcohol or cheat meals for the whole 75 days. If you miss a day, you have to start all the way back to day one.
small list.
Small list. Well, the nice part is they have a nice app for it. So you could just check off the checklist for what you did and what you still need to do for that day. So that was super helpful to have. And it's motivating too, because you can kind of see the progress where you're at with it.
Picking only one. Which one was the hardest of all those items?
All those items to do for the 75 days. Oh man,
Which one was the hardest?
you, uh, it's all hard.
I know, but
I'll,
what's the
I'll say,
most
yeah,
challenging?
the most challenging definitely was the outdoor workout. I'm in Pennsylvania. It's fucking freezing. And like, I started February 10th, dude. It was like the day after the Super Bowl. And I was hungover from the Super Bowl because I went out with my buddies. And like, I got to work at it. I'm like, all right, should I just do it? And I just started it. And I'm like, oh man, what I get myself into here. But the outdoor workout, like, so my outdoor workout every day was a morning walk around my lake. I live on the top of a mountain, and then there's a lake, so it's about 2.5 miles around it, something like that, or whatever. And it's pretty much exactly like a 45-minute walk, but the road is dirt. And in the wintertime in February, it was like a sheet of ice. Like every day, I'm like literally like stopping like over like this ice. I felt like ice road truckers or something like that. Like just trying to make it across and get it done. I was bundled up like. Did you ever see Christmas Story? Ralphie's
Yep.
little brother. I was like, I had like the snowsuit on, I had the mask, I had the gloves. I was ready for bear. That definitely helped because I was never really cold. I think a lot of times in life when you don't want to do something, you put that in your head like, oh, it's too cold out. Well, is it, or do you just not want to do it? You know, that was a big takeaway for me too. Is like, I felt like comfortable when I was out there, even though some days when the wind was blowing, it sucked worse than others. But yeah, I mean, when you
That's
bundle,
interesting.
you
Yeah.
do it.
You're saying, you tell yourself a story because,
Oh, it's
well, it's
raining.
like,
Oh, it's snowing
yeah.
out. Oh, it's cold out. Oh, it's windy out and cold. Yeah, I had to do it no matter what it was, dude. I was like part-time fucking meteorologist, so I'd be like checking out the weather patterns. Is it going to be raining in the morning? Is it going to be raining in the evening? When should I do my outdoor thing? When should I do my indoor things? It was you definitely had to plan out your day accordingly, or else you bomb it. Especially like us running multiple businesses, team leader of multiple agents, family of, dad with kids. If you do not plan out your day, you're toast. You'll never make it because your day's going to get ahead of you. That was one of the nice little side effect perks was getting up every morning. Kind of pretty much waking up with the sun for the last 75 days. That was another thing with the before daylight savings, dude. It'd be dark like super early. I'm not. I live in the woods, dude. Freaking bears and shit out there. I ain't going outside at night. No. But so you'd be kind of okay. When's the sunrise? When's the sunset? When can I get that outdoor thing going? All that kind of stuff. So yeah, action
What was
packed.
the latest workout you had?
Oh, like 10 o'clock. Yeah,
10?
10 to like 10:45, 11 o'clock. And that's the time I think when a lot of people would quit too and just be like, I'm not doing it now. you know. And don't get me wrong, that 10 o'clock workout wasn't like a P90X, like super physical thing. It was another walk or whatever it was, you know what I mean? Elliptical or something like that. A lot of cardio on this.
Did anyone say, you know what? You've done good enough. Why don't you just call it a day tomorrow?
Yeah. Yeah. My wife.
That's I've been there.
You know what?
I've been there.
It's funny, yeah, your family, they love you and everything, but they could also be the biggest instigators for like, come on, hang out, especially with having a couple beers and whatnot. Oh, there was a ton of events that came up that would be, hey, the boys are getting together and we're going out to drink. I went to a hockey game in Philadelphia. I went to or just the NFL draft, the whatever, first day of it, all
That
this
was
kind of
last
stuff.
night.
Yeah, NCAA. Well, no, that not the NFL
NFL.
draft. Um,
That was last night though.
NCAA tournament was during this thing. First day of baseball was during this thing. What else? I think the NCAA tournament was the biggest one. There's some other events, but you don't need an
What's
excuse to go out.
It's funny you said that because I know when I think it was about 2 years ago I did 75 hard now I think, and I looked for a stretch of 75 days without any event, Super Bowl, holidays, and those things, and
Oh, yeah.
it's
My
just
son's
never a
birthday, my
stretch.
mom's birthday, and that's
Yeah,
not even for like drinking or whatever, but like no cheat meals. So I didn't have cake, no ice cream, no cookies, no candy, no nothing. Yeah, Easter was going on. No, and dude, that was the hardest one, I think, with all the candies and stuff that the Easter bunny left around, not picking up one of those. Like at midnight tonight, my mom got me these like Gertrude Hawk like pretzel chocolates, dude, and like itching for one.
yeah. So, what have you learned about yourself?
Um, one of the biggest things is take it one day at a time. That's the biggest thing. And I think this ties back into my real estate business. I shared it with the team. So many times in life, we want to be on, automatically just go to day 75, but you can't do the whole 75 challenge in one day. You have to get up and do the work that you don't want to do when you don't want to do it, when you don't feel like it, when you're hurt, when you're tired, all that kind of stuff. Just getting up and showing up. That's what I
I'm
learned about myself. I learned about that I don't need alcohol for long periods of time to have fun. I learned that I could make a commitment to myself. Like one of the biggest things is once I made it public and once I made it let the team know I wasn't gonna quit. I think you need to have that attitude before you go into it. Like it's either gonna be death or I'm fucking finishing it. And that's what I told myself. Like there's no way I'm not finishing it. There's no possible way. One time I almost slipped when I was cutting the cake for like my mom's or my son's birthday, and I almost licked my fingers on the cake and ate the icing. And I'm like, oh my god, if I fucking had to stop because of that, I would have died, dude. I would have been so upset.
Oh, and that's yeah. I mean, and that's well, the negotiation in your head is easy to win, you know, but the one out in public, it's a little more
Yeah,
challenging.
yeah. Everybody sees, oh, you're doing it, you're doing great. It's like internally, you're like, oh man, I do not feel like doing this.
Well, and that's the thing, you know, so that's, you know, I used to say this differently about something, but you know, like I forget what it was, but we're not the thoughts in our head. So like to this point, like if you're a mess inside debating it, but outside you're doing what you need to be doing, like that's how you'll be remembered. That's what's out there on the pavement. That's what's there. So you know, so because we all got some wild stuff that happens in the 6 inches between our ears. But on the other side of it, if you think everything's great in your head and you know you think you're the best thing in the world, but you really have no result, like you know,
Yeah,
I'm faced with that a lot. You know, my
yeah.
ego entering into this business was much higher than it. You know, it's continuously my ego is and it's still there, but it's continuously degraded. Where it's like, you know what, maybe you're not as good as you think you are until you get the result. You know,
Yeah, I was
um,
listening to a podcast this morning, and he said, you have enough problems with your own thoughts, let alone worrying about what other people think. It's hard enough
dude,
getting over your own self doubts and your own disbeliefs or whatever. One of the things that I was thinking about, it's like, it's not because you're too old. It's not because you're too young. It's not because you're ABC or XYZ. It's because you think you can or you think you can't. And that's going to be the biggest difference of trying to do anything with your life. If you already think that you can't do it, then you're toast. But if you think it and you believe it, you could achieve it.
oh, I know, and I struggle with this so much right now with my daughter's softball team. It's so like I watch, and I don't know, I don't have figured out the best way to it's hard because modeling's the best teacher, and it's hard to model that when you're just you know you only have limited you know and that. But there's so many of them that you know like
Start roping
oh
them at them.
I can't hit this or I can't do that today, and I'm just not gonna do good today. I had one, you know, she came and she's like, I'm not gonna do good today. I'm like, well, you just said it. I'm like, oh my god, it's like it's such a big thing. Don't you cannot you girls have to get that
Mindset.
yeah, it's such a hard one to get at a young age and yeah, I don't have as much time to be able to show each and every one of them, and it's really I lose sleep over that at night. But I do have more time with my kids, you know, outside of that to show them that how powerful that belief is. But it here's the thing. You hear it and you're like, yeah, Chad, okay, well, I think this and I'm not going to instantly do it. It's not like I think I'm going to hit a home run and I hit a home run. It's because it has to become a freaking obsession. And for anybody that's wanting to read or if you have read it, it's what is it? Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah.
Um, I actually like I had to stop reading it because I already like fully believe in all that, but you have to become obsessed with what you are basically manifesting. You have to and what happens is like when if you start thinking about buying a Tesla, you start seeing Teslas everywhere. If you start thinking about buying like some random car you don't like that you don't see as much, all of a sudden you start spotting them. Like so, if you start believing, you know, I'm going to be X Y Z, you start seeing things that reinforce X Y Z out in the world, and like it's basic, but it's real.
So I got I just ordered the book, but I listened to the podcast, and I definitely want to plug this other podcast because it's fantastic. It's called Founders, and it just talks
Ah,
about you know entrepreneurs and their journey of how they built businesses and the lessons that he's taken away from these books. But the one of the last ones that I listened to was on Bill Walsh. You know, the score will the score will determine itself, meaning, and he's the legendary football coach for the San Francisco 49ers, and he inherited the team when they were like 2-14 and they stunk, right? And he said, if we do everything right, the score will determine itself. The score is just a byproduct of having a winning culture. The score is a byproduct for doing things the right day every day. And he said, he didn't start building a winning team right off the bat. And I think I'm gonna get you a copy of the book too to read too, because it's super valuable. It's like everybody from the person that answers the phone to the last player on the team all has to have that winning attitude. And just like you're talking about, he says winners think they're winners before they're winners. And he said it starts with just a mindset of shifting the
story of my
culture.
life.
Yeah, eventually you'll get there.
Uh,
Um, eventually you'll get there. But he says, we didn't start with trying to, have a win the Super Bowl. We started with tucking in our shirts. We started with how we answer the telephone like a professional organization. We don't let our helmets touch the ground because that's our brand and they're to be cared with. And if you're on this team, you're a part of a world class organization. So everybody from so they didn't do rookie hazing and any of that shit. If you were a member and you were good enough to be on the team, you were a valued member of the organization right from the go until you proved otherwise. So it wasn't saying that he was like, just like a pushover. He's a very strict
sure.
coach, but he gave you enough bandwidth to either self-select in or select yourself out by not following the process and not living up to the standards of the rest of the team.
So good. And, something you and I have gotten into a lot of is, what standards and standards. I feel that as you grow, they have to evolve with. If you do level up, you've got to have better standards. You've got to, hold the new standard as you grow and as a human being, and that's that part of a reset of my team. What I've started to experience is we've gotten to a point where we need standards that and there was, I think it was on an SOP that Reside gave us from, I think it was from Sunit. He put on there, eagles don't fly with turkeys. Um,
That's
so
good.
it's like, you've got to uphold the standards. Well, and then even like your like our local environment, whether it's family, take your family. You know, if you want to bring, if you're not going to bring a bunch of bad apples around your family, you know what I mean? Like bad examples and bad things, So like you've got to protect that because you want more for them too. Um,
Yeah.
so the standards
More
are,
more is caught than taught, right? With your kids. They
dude.
see exactly and they pick up exactly what's going on. If you're having these bad behaviors all the time, there's um, you know, they're gonna know. And it's funny when I've been doing this, my kids keep bringing it up. I haven't really brought it up to them, but they're like, "Oh, what day you on? How you doing with that? Oh, I don't want to do that." I'm like, you couldn't even give up chocolate for Lent. You'd never make it, And she's like, I could do, you know what I mean? So just kind of going back and forth with each other on stuff like that. But set an example. Other people gave up drinking for Lent, because I was going sober too. I don't know if I prompt that or inspired that at all or whatever. But I mean, it was just awesome to see. Like, and it's also fun to hang around with people that are if everybody's drinking, you're going to be more likely to be drinking. So if you're putting yourself in an environment for success, like I didn't want to really go out too much. I didn't want to be in that environment at all. So then that way I wouldn't be tempted to do, to stray from the path.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. It's well, and I think a lot about. with the kids and what we're modeling. And well, one thing I struggle, I think, is like we have set, so I was talking about having this conversation yesterday, is the like devices, like the screen time. And there's two parts that are really interested in it. Like one is, and Gary V, I think, was where I kind of first caught this, was because like my knee jerk reaction as a parent is like, no, no, no devices, less screen time, like ah. But if you
Get
think
it off
about
your
it,
hand. Yeah.
yeah, are they going to grow up in a world with more technology or less technology? Right? Think about that.
True.
And I certainly don't want them to be ill-equipped, but obviously there's a line where it's like where it's an addictive. Anything, everything in moderation is good. So so there's that. But the other side of it is like, okay, so like our oldest was really good at self-regulating the tech, right? The youngest not as much, and it's like okay, so you create these rules like, but then
After
you
9
gotta
o'clock, gotta put it away.
yeah, but you gotta look at yourself. You're like, well, wait, am I having that feel to pull that
Hey,
that thing
yeah,
out?
put your phone away because,
I know you say it while you're on the thing, and it's like,
yeah. Hey,
oh,
you're on your, hold on, you're on your phone way too much. No, for sure. Trying to set boundaries and standards is not easy, and we talk about it all the time. And I think a lot of that comes from a fear mindset that, oh, if I set these standards, everybody's gonna leave. Now I'm gonna have to do everything again. I'll just have lack of standards, and then kind of go from there. Let it be a free for all.
yeah, yeah. I had that feeling a lot. I
Me
think I
too.
would,
I still do. I still gotta hold it. I'm a pushover. I gotta like man up on a lot of that stuff too. But I'll be the first to admit it. And like I said, accountability is the highest form of love that we could give somebody. The standards are the standard for a reason because we want to see people win. If you're doing the bare minimum, that's not me loving you well. That's not me showing you how to do it the right way. That's me just letting you go by and do whatever you feel like doing that day.
well, this is really good because I want this thing to be real and transparent, and the conversation that you and I would have on a phone call. Like that was the whole idea of this whole show, was like, man, we're talking all the time. Let's just air it out in public. And dude, like, so the Chet Black environment, Reside, one of the reasons I signed up, with them and wanted to coach in that environment is because they'll tell you the truth, they'll hold the standards. It's an environment of winners, production's high, and yeah, like, you know, this past month and a half or so, there's been so much pull in the 6 inches between my ears to not do the thing, to not stay to the standards, and John talked about it a few months ago where it's not that it's stress, but it's an environment of tension. Like there's tension. Like, are you doing the shit you're supposed to be doing? And if you're not,
Yeah.
like, it's not like you're like on the bad list, but it's like, like, hey, we're doing this thing. Like, are you going to keep up, or what are you? And I'm so grateful to be like, it's you think about it, and then it's like, okay, well, if you're going to do it with our team members, where am I putting myself in those situations? Because I want it too, and that's I think what's so important is because it's held me to stay the course, to do the things I don't want to do because I put myself in those environments, and um, it sucks. You got to show up when you don't want to and do those things, but if you put yourself out there publicly, if you put yourself in that environment of those people, it's going to hold you to the things. But you gotta have that alignment with your actions, with what you're committing to, whether it's, like friends, family, the family you surround yourself with, the coaching environment you're in, the brokerage you're at, the office people you're chatting with. Like, it's just like, is that an environment that, are you putting it and making it that those are driving you towards your goals or away, you know?
Yeah. That's so good. And we talk about it all the time because sometimes we'll beat ourselves up and we're like, I don't feel like I'm getting enough traction. Or, it's like, think of the group that we're surrounding ourselves with. It's all high performing people that have been doing it for much longer than we have. We have to give ourselves some grace as we build it up, but also we have to do what they're doing, which is doing the things that we don't want to do every single day, just like they do. And if we
Yeah,
just keep continuing on that path, we'll be fine.
it's like it's yeah. Well, it's like you got to give yourself grace, but I'm thankful for that they push that because I wouldn't continue. And then you go zoom out like you can't get stuck in this space either. But it's well you can because if you each year, Sunit posted it the other day. If you're not embarrassed of where you were a year ago, you're not growing.
Oof, that's a
I
good
like
one.
that.
Wow.
I like that a
Yeah,
lot.
that one hits hard. But I had a conversation with an agent with very similar to that too, right? It's supposed to be hard as a new agent. Anything with change is going to cause pain. That pain should be a sign that you're growing. Anytime that there's growth, there's going to be struggle, and you have to take away, step back, and embrace the suck. Know it's going to be painful and still fight through it so you can get through the other side of that change and get to the destination of what you want to become.
Yeah, and there's something to be said for willing sacrifice. I don't know, like I'm noticing that a lot in success stories and movies and religion and a lot of things. There's something to be said for willing sacrifice to transform and to level up, to grow. It's almost like it's almost like it's a law of the universe or of nature or of the matrix that you have to willingly sacrifice in order to grow. Like I don't know. I see that a lot lately. And it's like what does that mean? Like I don't know. Well, I talked about it with my daughter the other day. It was like she's like as talking about growing with our real estate goals and work and stuff like that. And she's like, well, then that means you won't be home as much, to do this or that. And it's like, I know, but to grow, we have there. That's part of the sacrifice. You have to sacrifice. It's not that I'm never gonna like to be clear.
Yeah,
I coach my kids softball. Like I'm with them a ton. So like I'm not like voting for don't be around that.
yeah,
But there is a sacrifice that has to be made to grow. And I think giving it to them straight about that is super, super important. They need to understand like you have to sacrifice certain things to grow. But
yeah.
it does seem to be like a law, right?
Uh,
Like,
yeah, for sure. My 3-year-old, she she knows every morning when I'm taking my other daughter to school, like it's time to go. Bye, bye, bye. Then she'll like shut the door behind us and then like look in the window and like kind of just like stare at us creepily, but it's cute.
yeah. Well, and without it, I think they take it that for granted. Or I have, I know like, yeah, it's,
Well, you have to what you call. There's a time, hey, daddy would love to be here and play with you all day, every day, especially in the summertime when it's our time to grind. They're home from school more and they're like, how come daddy has to go to work? I want to play and all that kind of stuff. So you have the family dynamic stuff. It's like, yeah, hey,
yeah,
daddy's
it's
got to
coming.
work because
That's
how
around the
we
corner.
paid for Disneyland. Daddy grind it. But yeah, I mean, like you said, setting those boundaries, and it's tough. Like I said, with our job, the freedom is one of the biggest killers for all real estate agents. Having the discipline to go to work and not stay home and do it is also on the other side of that too.
So let's stay in there then. So, like, what are you experiencing right now in terms of the market? How are you having, would you say the market is for your team? Is it moving good, better, or worse than it has a year ago?
Uh, I think things are a little bit slower for sure. I really don't get into the weeds too much. Oh, it's a bad market. I don't want to put any kind of limiting beliefs on our team. So I don't really go there. Oh, the market's bad. I don't even tell them if it is overall down or up or whatever, because you can't control that. What you could control is your
Mm,
daily actions. You
that's
can
where I wanted
control
to
what
go
you do
to.
every
Thanks for
single day.
spoiling the whole process.
That's what I'm here for. I
No, but
ruin
that's
shit. What do you want to?
no, that's yeah. I mean, that's exactly it. I had an agent at an interview the other day, and they're like, what are your thoughts about the market this year? Like, doesn't matter if
Yeah,
it's down 20%. We work 20% harder.
I know. I know. If you were anytime anybody asks me that, I go, "Are you looking for the an excuse to let yourself off the hook for the work that you don't want to do?" Right?
Yeah.
Anytime we want to give ourselves an out. Oh, it's the market. Well, I'll just wait. Oh, it's the market. I guess it's easier. Oh, it's the market. I don't want to do it anymore. I'm going to go get another job. Nobody can sell in this market. I'm almost capped after 2 months of, yeah, it's not the market, it's your activity.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm going through right now is like a new phase of like I think I had, we've had growth over the past year for sure. I think a year and a half ago, I've taken a lot of looks at myself and went, okay, get out of comfort and get into stuff. Okay. And I've gotten to a good rhythm of it. But then, I think like this past week, man, I have taken another ruthless inspection where I need to stare at myself in the mirror and look at the truth. And there's some areas in my business and my life where I am not doing what I'm supposed to do. I am not being disciplined enough. And it's important to do but I think for anybody watching this, like, one, because we want to narrate our journey as we go, but two, it's like, maybe I need to tell myself this, so this is good. It's not to view it in a, oh, you're bad because you're not doing all the things. It's like, okay, you're doing those things again, or you're not doing enough of this, or you're saying you're going to do this, you're not do that, and go, okay, and it's not producing the result you want, so change it, right? And one of my favorite things, I heard this on Andy Frisella, who did 75 Hard on his podcast, was there was a question, I think, about um, handling addiction to scrolling or porn or the like these or
Energy
anything,
drink.
and his view on it was, I'm getting beat by an object. Like, you getting beat by this. Man, that one has stuck with me for the last. I heard about it like a month and a half ago or something on a podcast. It's like, I am sick of getting beat by a freaking device, or a freaking this, which I did. This is 2 days old. Uh, it is, but that's a great area. Like, that's where I've been gotten smoked lately. Celsius.
Yeah.
Celsius has smoked me. It is, I need one, and I haven't had
One
one
habit
today.
off, another one picked up, right? That's kind of what
Hundred
happens.
percent.
We look to
Yeah.
fill that void, you know. Uh, Whenever, like I said, with this 75 hard, there was a lot of stuff that I had to cut out. The stuff that I put in was the exercise, the eating right, and all that, tracking my meals every day, and all that kind of stuff. But now, I'm kind of getting a little bit nervous because now it's over. Today's the last day. All I have to do is just weed out my diet, don't eat a cookie, and I'm done. I have one more workout at 5 o'clock. I'll get in. But when I don't have that restraint of knowing that I have to do that every day, I feel kind of like, like a criminal, like getting out of jail now. Like what's society gonna be like for me on the outside now? Like, am I gonna go overindulge now because I was so disciplined and restrictive over the last 75 days? Am I gonna keep that discipline? I don't know. I'm just like nervous about it.
Well,
But I think
what
you do a podcast or a YouTube video after you finish it saying fuck
I'll
75
send it
hours.
to you. I'll send it to
Yeah.
you. Yeah,
What
I'll send it
happened
to
with
you.
yours? Share
It was a mess. I mean, I went the other way fast, and that's why I actually didn't
it.
love 75 Hard. But granted, for me, man, it's funny because I was laughing earlier when you said about how you kind of just like did a workout after the Super Bowl and like kind of fell into it. And that's how I did it too. It's just like,
Well, I
I
was
was like, I'm
planning
doing
it.
it.
I was planning it for at least a year. Like I knew I
Like,
wanted to do
right.
it. Yeah.
Like marinating, nurturing the idea. But then
Yeah.
all of
I
a
was
sudden
getting
there's
a
just
game
like a,
plan together. I wanted to, prepare, okay, exactly do I need to do? I got an elliptical, I got some stuff where I could do some of the workouts at the house, a treadmill so I could do some of the workouts at the house and you know, but yeah, no, it was an accident or it was not planned that day. I didn't have like D-Day as the start day, but when I had it, I was ready to start.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I think, yeah, it's what do you want, I mean, do you want that no restriction? And then, okay, you've done that in your life before, I'm sure. And then it's like, okay, did that produce the results you wanted, right? And for me, I've had restrictive moments in my life and I've had non-restrictive moments in my life. And oh, what's the Tony Robbins thing? Good times create kind of lazy people create hard times, or what, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Do you know what I'm talking about or no?
No, you're
No?
losing me.
Ah, really? Good times. Here, I'll pull it up. Create weak people quote. That's it. So, hard times create strong men create good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times. And then it just
Wow.
cycles and cycles and
Ah, I never heard
cycles.
that before, and I like Uncle T, man. He's good stuff.
I think that was where I had heard it, but I could be wrong. I think the original, I don't know. Google says Michael Hopf, but I had heard it from Tony Robbins. Um, and yeah, so um, I think that's we get in these cycles and we think that life is just this one big cycle, but if you really we envy those people that are on the endless trajectory of growth, and it's like, well, how are they on this endless trajectory of growth? It's probably because they restrict themselves to sacrifice hard times doing those things,
Yeah,
and
I'm
then you'll
I'm already
stay.
thinking about it. Like, my twin brother was busting me. He's like, "You're gonna blow up in like a week because you're gonna eat like a fucking pig, and you're going to have some beers and all that kind of stuff. You're gonna put all that weight back on that you just lost." And I'm like,
I
"No, if it
did.
ever goes back to it, and then I'm going back to the restrictions like forever." So I have that in the back of my head. Do I want to do this again? Because it's not easy, dude. I'm hurt. Like playing injured, playing hurt. Like I'm banged up after this. Like I took a look at my stats, like over 1 million steps taken within the last 3 months. Over 1 million steps taken. It's crazy. And then what you call between the workouts, I think I like tore something in my shoulder, so I couldn't do as much push-ups and like heavy lifting as I want. I got something's going on here. And then on Monday, I'm like, oh man, dude, I popped like something in like my Achilles where I have to have like this bandage on my ankle to kind of keep it's like Spanx for my ankle. I have to like keep everything like sucked up tight or else like I couldn't put weight on it. Like Monday night on my second workout, like I had to just do like a walk because I was all banged up, man. But yeah, I'm sore as shit, and it's not easy. 150 workouts, 45 minutes within the last 75 days. It's crazy.
What I took from mine was because it's not sustainable. I don't feel to. I mean, you should be working out 7 days a week. You need rest time as much as you do. You do.
Yeah.
And but for what I took from why I did it after I looked back was I wanted to smack in the face. I wanted to shift in another direction. I wasn't okay with where things were. That's probably why I did it. And then I did it, and then I went back to all those things, and I realized I had to find a rhythm. I had to find a rhythm of something that I can stick with, and um, it came down to tracking food for me. It came down to a minimum of 3 strength training workouts per week. It came down to and tracking foods. I don't want to gloss over that. That sucks.
Yeah, it's
Like
not easy.
it,
No.
it sucks. But I
Well,
have
sticking to any kind of diet too, like I had no fried food, no chicken wings, no French fries, none of that stuff either. As long along with like the no cookies, candy, ice cream, cupcakes, donuts, whatever. But like I said, it's amazing, with your regular meals, because doing two 45-minute workouts, Ben, you're hungry. So like I supplement with some power bars and stuff like that. But I mean, just tracking it and seeing where your calorie count is on a normal basis, let alone adding all that junk in. So you could see how easy that you would go over a regular 2,000 calorie or whatever it is diet.
I
But
think
like you
that's why
said,
I stopped drinking because like I
yeah,
started counting all the calories of that. I'm like, holy shit, I got room for this.
yeah, yeah. How many you have a six pack of IPAs? It's like eating like 1,000 or drinking like 1,000 calories plus or whatever.
Dude, I
It's
was doing
crazy.
tequila and soda water, and I still could because the tequila has calories, and I'm like, come on, I don't want,
Yeah,
I might have
yeah.
drank a lot,
You're going over, and then like you said, then you have to track it. Now you know it, and then you feel
but
guilty
see,
that
it's accountability,
yeah,
And then I came, so I thought, and then yeah, I know so, well, the one other thing I'll say is what's interesting is we've advanced a lot as a, whatever, as a,
Species.
yes, and more so in recent years than ever. And I think one of the biggest differences that exists between now and all past times, at least that we know of, is it's actually money. And I was thinking about this the other day. I said this to Britt, and we were just kind of like, yeah, I think we always say money is the root of all evil, but actually, of course, there's a lot of ways money can be bad, but it's actually accountability. Like money in and of itself is accountability. Did you was your thing? Did people want to buy your thing, or do they not want to buy your thing? Are you worth being paid, or are you not? Of course, there's exceptions to this, but 95+% of the time, I bet you it generally keeps you accountable to whatever it's supposed to do. So I think it's one of the biggest accountability tools we've had is money. It's points on a board, and it's really, I think, helped propel our species is that we've had that accountability tool. And you know it's definitely, I don't know, yeah, it's sitting with me.
Yeah, I've heard somewhere where somebody quoted like, "Your income is the value that you provide in the marketplace," right? Or a direct correlation to the value that you provide in the marketplace. So, like I said, it is a good tracking metric. And if you're not making the income that you want to be making, like what kind of value am I providing? Am I doing the bare minimum or am I going above and beyond? Are you trapped in a job where you're capped? I was
Awesome.
for a long time. And, I realized, well, if I want to have unlimited earning potential, then I have to create my own destiny. I can't rely on Uncle Cannon to just say, "Oh, Jay, you did great this year, even though you were the top XYZ for the last 15 years or whatever. You get the same bonus as everybody else or whatever." I'm like, oh, fuck that. The more houses I sell, the more people I could help and more families served. The greater my income and the greater good I do in the area. So I mean, I think providing that kind of value and just having that kind of mentality with it, just changed a lot of things in my life. Self-limiting beliefs, like, am I only worth this amount of salary or income, or is there more out there? How many times did you get bad advice that said just go get a good stable job? It's like, well, what's that mean anymore? Well, we're going really down the rabbit's hole today.
Yeah, I mean, it's gold. Well, yeah, and I got smacked because I think I talked on here even. I told you Sanit had recommended that I read The Richest Man in Babylon.
Oh, it's a good
Um,
one. Yeah.
have you read that?
Oh, multiple times.
Oh, really? I never read it.
Really? It's short. It's only like it's not very
I'm
long.
halfway through or something like that. I'm already pretty far, but I was pissed.
Yeah.
So I
Why?
was
You
like,
don't think?
oh, this is gonna be like, I don't think that I was, but like I think like mentally I was like, yeah, I'm missing something, right? When it comes to growing wealth, not that I've done bad, but I'm like, maybe I'm missing something, right? And it wasn't that I was thinking there was a magic pill, but I probably unintentionally was like, yeah, there's something I missed that I never heard before or something. And then you get to it and it's like, save at least 10% of your income, pay yourself first. Don't take advice from people who haven't done the thing you're looking to do. I'm like, shit, I know all this stuff.
Yeah.
Just not doing
I've
it.
been telling the team that too, and you've heard the quote: "We don't need to learn more; we need to be reminded more." And when I just got done with training for new agents, that was the message. Like, I kind of condensed the boot camp into certain material because it's like you're going to forget it, and it's not going to be valuable to you until you're actually doing it. So I'm going to constantly be reminding you of what you need to know along the line or along the way. But take what you know now and go take action. That's the most important thing that you could do. And then when you have a question, and then during our trainings and all that kind of stuff, you'll it's going to start clicking as you're doing it. But until you start doing it, it's not going to make sense. And I heard a good one too. We don't train people; we train animals. We teach people. So I'm trying to use that, but I have training on everything. But yeah.
So the
What
lessons from it were pay yourself first, save at least 10% of your income before you spend on other things. Live
huge.
below your means.
Who doesn't do that anymore, right?
Make your money work for you. Invest your savings so they can grow. Um, Guard your wealth from loss. Invest only in things you understand,
That's the Warren Buffett
uh,
method. Yeah.
or with trusted advice. Avoid risky get rich quick schemes.
Did
Yeah,
you
so the
chat
trust
GPT this?
I did. Um, I'm reading it too, but I want to I want to summarize the lessons because I was pissed when I was reading it. I'm like, I know all these things, I know them all, but it was so give them everybody else listening. Own your own home. Strive to own your. We like that one.
That's great. Yeah.
Real
If you
estate agents
listen to
like
any
that
of
one.
those, audience, listen to that one.
Forget the rest. Just listen to that.
Yeah.
Okay.
You need to
Okay.
own a
Call
home.
Jason or Chad.
Yeah, for sure.
Uh,
Well, let's touch back on this. I mean, like I
I'm
said,
finishing these. No.
oh, go ahead.
Strive to own your own residence and reduce living costs and build equity. Secure a future income. Plan for retirement and unexpected hardships. That stuff's going to happen.
Shit is going to
By
happen for sure. You don't. It's funny because a lot of the podcasts and the books that I've been reading just say history repeats itself. You know, human behavior does not change, right? It's just same people doing the same stuff, causing the same things, but we think that it's going to be different. Like we don't think there's going to be a market crash that's going to come. We are so our head in the sky and all that kind of stuff. And then when something happens, we're like, I can't believe it. But guess what? We just had the financial collapse of XYZ. Oh yeah, the one before that. Oh yeah, the Great Recession. Oh yeah, the but we're like, oh, everything's gonna be perfect from here on out. Everything is roses and sunshine. And it's like
yeah,
you better set up for the rainy day because it's coming. And if you don't, that's one of the reasons why I got my real estate license. When I had my corporate job, I called it the golden parachute. If anything ever happened with Uncle Cannon, I could pull the riptide and I'm out of here. And you better have something to cover your ass in case shit goes down. And most likely, in everybody's situation, you need to have an emergency fund, like 3 to 6 months of expenses, because something's going to come up that is unexpected. Your kid's going to break their leg. This is going to happen. Your car's going to break down, and it's not an accident. The stuff is, it's going to happen. You know,
I
we
remember
think
when COVID
we
hit.
think everything is going to go smoothly forever, but it just does not.
I remember when COVID hit. I was like, at that time, I had about probably 4 or 5 months worth of cushion, and I'm like, yeah, thank God, thank God. Now
Yeah.
it ended up working out well for real estate, but when it was uncertain, you were like, oof, and that was like a litmus test. But the last thing I'll bring up, well, I'm gonna finish the final point, and then I want to go to what you just said. So the last one is increase your ability to earn, constantly improve your skills and knowledge to boost your earning potential. And then, you know, people giving advice, we always discount older people's advice a lot, or we can. It was different then. They didn't have
I
cell
know.
phones. They
We're
didn't
so we're
have
so
cell
we're so
systems.
naive, man. The stuff that the lies that we tell ourselves to make it easier or to
But what
give
hit me
yourself.
with it though was the book said, did they not have the same sun that went up and went down every day? Like
Well,
shit. Th- They did. So a lot of the conditions were actually the same. We're talking about the few exceptions that were different, but a lot of the things that we experience, our interaction with other human beings, the animals that are around, the lay of the land, like it's pretty much the same. So if they learn something through that, you can probably too. Now back to the other principle though, of if it's somebody who actually did what you want to do, that's where that comes in. Did they do? If they're giving you advice about savings and retirement, how does their savings and retirement look? Right? Like
yeah.
that's the key
Like
kicker.
you're not going to take fitness advice for somebody that's heavy set, right? It's the same thing financially. Like, what's their financial model? I always equate it to, and I say, you want to be like a scuba diver, but you don't want one tube into your helmet. Because if any, and that tube is your income source. If anything ever happens with that and that sucker gets clogged up, you're toast, right? So the more tubes that you have in, the longer you could sustain if something bad happens. So you should always have multiple streams of income. Like going back to COVID, they shut us down for 4 or 5 months. You couldn't practice real estate at all. There's no income coming in. Thankfully, I had other investment opportunities. I had rental properties, and that was set income, why I could sustain, you know, however long I needed to, you know. So if you're not investing in real estate, I definitely say you should, especially if you're a real estate agent.
Yeah, it's never done me wrong. I don't regret buying any. I just regret selling a few of them.
Oh God,
Uh,
we all do. Well, let's wrap it up with this. So 75 hard. What comes next? And one of the best benefits that I had was reading all those books. I'm going to keep that habit. Waking up early, keep my reading going because I probably read like 8 books throughout the whole time, and I was reading more than just the minimum 10-page requirement because once you get into it, it's like okay, I'll just read a chapter. And then if
sure.
you just do a chapter a day or whatever, you're gonna coast through a bunch of books. I read, a bunch of Ogilvy books on advertising and marketing, which were awesome. I read the Leonardo da Vinci biography, which was amazing. I read Peter Thiel's Zero to One about building startup businesses. Very good stuff there. The Ask method that John always recommends. That was pretty interesting. I'm actually going to be implementing a lot of the stuff from there and being Carlos my admin, so super pumped about that. But man, it's just great.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah,
And I'm
yeah.
going to not do any workouts at least this weekend. I gotta give my body some rest.
You back on Monday?
I'm back on Monday. Yeah, yeah,
Back on
definitely.
Monday.
I'm,
Okay.
I'm, I'm itching to get out there, dude. Now, this was just phase one. Phase two is getting ripped and jacked. I'm gonna be a fucking behemoth by the time you see me at the next event. Like a monster. I'm gonna look like I got drafted in the NFL draft next time you see me. Who's that bald, gigantic guy?
Well, yeah, I imagine there's other benefits beyond just visual too. You might feel a little bit better, and
That's the funny part. Everybody's like, "Well, how do you feel? Do you feel different?" I'm like, "I don't know how I feel. I feel like a blob, like because you're so beat up from all the you're just tired from consistently doing the workout. You're tired from getting up early to get everything in. It's just it's mentally draining, dude. Like, okay, I have to do this. I have to do this. It's stressful. Like, and a big shout out to friend of the show, just Boswell. Like, because on day 19 or whatever, I got sick, like bad. Like I couldn't get out of bed. I got picked myself up because I read a post that she did about stop being a little bitch, and I'm like, all right, fuck it, I'll do it. And if I'm worse tomorrow, and it was a little bit better the next day, but I got everything done, and I continued to do it. But if I quit on day 19, I probably wouldn't have never did it. I probably wouldn't have started back up. So a big thank you to her, and I'm definitely going to be sending her a message when I complete it because she kicked my ass over the finish line.
that's good. That's good. Well, you've got like less than 12 hours left, man.
As far as the audience knows, I finished. I'm gonna go have a beer. I'm gonna go eat some fucking chocolates.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, good job, dude. That's no joke. I'm looking forward to seeing where you go next. I'll send you my video. What a
No,
way
oh
to
yeah, I let you off the hook. You diverted on your 75 hard. What happened next?
Oh, I told you, dude. I gained it all back. It blew it. It was a mess for like 3 or 4 months, and then, uh, well, no, sorry, it was a 3 4 month slide. The first month was good. The second, third, fourth were bad. After that, um, I got stuck in that slide. I kind of held stable, and then about 8 months later, I'm like, nah, I got to get a rhythm, and that's where it worked.
Yeah, that's what I'm nervous
But
about tomorrow. We'll see what happens, but I'm definitely
well, you
having
you choose. I
yeah.
mean, you
Choices we
choose.
make dictate the life we lead, my friend.
Make a choice.
All right, brother. Till next time. Peace.
See ya.